Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be going over something that many people have asked me about online, how to write an effective blog post. If you've ever found yourself struggling to find the right balance between informative and promotional messaging, you're in the right place. In this video, I'll walk you through a proven blog writing formula that I've used to help hundreds of clients, and it also will captivate your audience and help you grow it even more. But before we get into the specifics, we need to understand the fundamentals behind every single piece of writing we have ever picked up. And this is called the author's purpose. In order to understand this a little better, we have to go back to our elementary school days. Do you ever remember your teacher picking up a book and saying, "Hey, what is the purpose of this book? Why did the author write this?" Essentially, it boils down to one very important concept. Every piece of writing serves a singular purpose. Sometimes it is to inform our audience of something. This Healthline blog is an excellent example of informing the audience. The blog post needs to teach them why their farts stink. This is essentially the reason they're looking for it. They're looking to be informed or educated on a specific topic. Now, stay with me to the end because I'm going to show you a framework that'll help you write a blog post like this effectively. For now, if you're liking the content, why not give me a like and subscribe and share the video with someone else who might be wondering how to write an effective blog post. Other times, blogs are purely for entertainment. TMZ is an excellent example of that. This blog post, yeah, we're probably going to learn something about these celebrities, but overall, this is meant to keep your attention and entertain you. You wouldn't use this, for example, when writing a case study for a business or when you're trying to convince somebody to purchase a product or service that you offer. And nobody is going to ask Google, how is Travis Kelce going to see Taylor Swift in Sydney? People just don't care that much. This is more about entertaining the audience rather than teaching them something. So far in this video, we've covered inform and entertain, but there's one elephant left in the room. But before we get to the last piece of the puzzle and the author's purpose, I want to quickly go over what good SEO is. Many writers struggle with the SEO aspect of writing content or writing sales copy, but the thing is, it's not really that difficult. You, as the writer, need to understand what somebody's intent is. What are they looking for? Why are they typing in this specific word on Google? When you understand that, you can then craft a piece of content that people actually want to read. And there are three types of intent that people have whenever they're looking for something on the internet. The first is informational intent, such as in the Healthline blog post. Somebody wants information. Why do my farts smell? People want to know the answer to it, maybe so they can prevent it, or maybe they just want to understand why people have smelly farts. Either way, this is informational intent. Somebody is looking for this information, and your job as the writer is to recognize and understand people want to learn something. The next type of SEO keyword that people search for is a commercial intent keyword. You write something like this, you're going to be teaching, but you're going to be doing it with a biased response. That way somebody will want to purchase the product for the company that hired you to write. The last type of intent that you have is transactional intent. This means somebody is ready to buy something. Suppose you've been reading the blog post about the best coffee makers to buy. You decide that the Keurig is actually the coffee maker that you want to purchase. The next time you go onto Google, you're not going to type best coffee makers to buy online. Instead, you're going to type buy Keurig coffee maker. So this is commercial intent. Nobody is looking to learn. They are ready to make a purchase. All of these kind of fall in line with the writer's purpose as well. Sometimes people are looking to learn something. Sometimes people are looking to make a purchase. Now, this leads us to the Holy Grail, my personal favorite type of online writing, and seriously the easiest way to make a lot of money quickly, the sales page. The last puzzle piece of the author's purpose, which is persuasion. They want us to take an action or change our opinion on something. This type of online writing comes in two flavors: B2B, which is business to business, or you have direct response. And here's an example of a page that tries to do just that. They try to persuade us to take an action. Hotjar very clearly starts by stating what you're going to get by using their product. And if you go down a bit more, you can see how it worked for other people. Go down a bit more, you're going to understand everything that you can do with this piece of software. And then a little further down, you're going to see pricing, and they're going to ask you to start a free trial with their service. This is persuasion copywriting. This is the last piece in author's purpose. Understanding your purpose as an author sets the tone and direction for your writing. It ensures that your message resonates with the people who are reading it. So it's super important that before you write anything online, you need to think, what is the author's purpose? Am I trying to persuade, inform, or entertain someone with my blog post? Now's the moment you've all been waiting for. How do you actually structure a blog post? I'm not talking about a sales page here. I'm talking about an informative blog post. This is all about informing and entertaining. But if you do want to know how you can write a sales page, you can check out this video here because I went ahead and outlined it for you. If you Google how to write an informative blog post, you're likely going to see some acronyms like EEAT. Google uses this to rank pages, but the acronym is not intuitive to remember at all. It means experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. It's much better to think about a blog post the same way that you would structure a speech that you're giving to someone. There are 3 effective rules for writing a blog post. Hook me into the post, tell me what you're going to talk about, tell me about it, and then at the end of the blog post, tell me exactly what you talked about. Let's check it out in a blog post so you can see. So here's a blog post from my website, and if you can see, I start the blog post in the first paragraph by clearly outlining a problem that most new business owners have. The goal here is to get the reader interested in what I have to say. That way I can tell them everything they're going to learn if they read the blog post from the beginning to the end. And if you think about it, my video did the same thing. I started by saying everything you're going to learn, and if you're still watching, it's because you were interested in learning this blog post format. And at the end of this introduction section, I fully outline everything that people are going to learn. In these middle sections, you have to keep your promise. You have to talk about everything you stated you would talk about in the introduction of your blog post. You need to help the reader fully understand the issue that you promised you would solve with your blog. You have to fully outline everything in detail, and you have to do it in a way that's engaging and informative. Otherwise, people might leave your page before they finish reading. When you set up a blog post this way, people are going to value it. They're going to know what to expect, and then when you go through and outline it, they're not going to have any surprises where they spend time reading something and they don't get what they're expecting. Now, in these middle sections, it's super important that you don't simply outline a solution. You need to be teaching people using your own experiences, as I've done in this blog post. If you look here, I've gone through, I've given you examples of what I've done for other clients. I've given people examples of what can happen if they implement a specific strategy, and I clearly outlined that this is all from my experience and data that I've gathered in my business. People will value this when they read because they understand you're not just teaching theory, you're teaching practice. You can help them understand everything that needs to be said through a story if need be, and this is going to be even more effective. Once you've finished talking about everything, you now arrive at the end portion of your blog, and this is going to be the tell me exactly what you talked about in this blog post. In the bottom section, this should essentially be a summary. You should quickly review everything that you talked about during the blog post. It will bring everything into focus for your reader. In this section, I clearly outline everything that I talked about in the blog post, so at the end, everybody knows all of the value that they got from reading from start to finish. Now, remember how I mentioned some writers blur the line between informational content and overly promotional content? In this section down at the bottom, it is totally okay to add a small call to action. After all, the reason you're writing all of these informative blog posts is to pull people closer to taking a final action that you want them to take, such as working with you in your business or purchasing a product that you have. So adding a small call to action, such as, if you're unsure how to implement all of this and you want a little bit of guidance, let me know by clicking the button below. Something like this is really fine. They've read from top to bottom your entire blog post. They're very interested in what you have to say, and they're also interested in the solution that you have to offer. So it is totally fine to ask for somebody to take an action, as long as throughout your blog post you have gone through and given them a lot of value. Once you've gone through and you've structured your blog post in this way, there are a couple other pieces of information you must have in order for your content to be found online. The first is a meta description. You want to keep this to about 160 characters, not words, characters. If it's longer than that, whenever somebody searches for your content with a keyword and it appears, it's going to cut off, and you want to keep the meta description fully viewable. You can add a call to action there as well. If somebody sees your piece of content on Google, you could say something like, click here to learn about this. You give them a little bit of value, you give them a call to action. So the meta description is super important. Just keep it to 160 characters or less. The next thing you need is an excerpt for WordPress. And an excerpt is literally just a summary. Suppose somebody goes to your website because they enjoy reading your blog. They're not going to find this by typing a keyword in on Google. Instead, they're going to see it directly on your blog page. So your excerpt is a short summary of what somebody is going to learn if they click on your blog post and read it. And the last thing you want to do is take 10 important keywords as you are writing your blog post, and you want to put them into WordPress at the end. This is going to help Google to categorize your content so other people can find it. So there you go, a super simple framework that you can use to start understanding how to write a blog post that's not overly promotional. We've learned that when somebody makes a piece of writing for the internet, it has one of three purposes. The first is to persuade, to get you to take an action. This is something such as a sales page. The next is to entertain you. That's going to be something like this TMZ article, where the only purpose is to keep as much of your attention for as long as possible. And the last one is to inform. This is the majority of blog content because businesses with services want to inform people of what it's going to be like to work with them. And they do all of this to push someone closer in their funnel to making a purchase. And if you're unsure about what a sales funnel is or how that works, you can go ahead and check out this video here where I outline all the pieces you need to understand what a good sales funnel is. So if all of this is a bit confusing and you're not really sure how to get started with it, you can go ahead and click the link in my description, and I have a freebie that you can download where if you're writing an informative blog post, which 90% of the content you're writing online is going to be informative, you can follow step by step what to do. I'm going to give you the framework that we covered today, and I'm also going to show you in this document how you can put in little tidbits of information and details that show that you have actually done this so people believe you rather than just thinking that you're outlining a theory they can use. All right, guys, that's all for this video. I'm Sean. If you like the content, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.